All right, so we got a request to do a deep dive on Kinshasa, and we actually got two sources this time. So we've got this travel guide, plus some info from FlightNHotels.com, which is perfect because they focus on travel anyway. So Kinshasa, capital of the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Right in the heart of Africa.
And it's massive, apparently, one of the biggest cities in Africa. So are you thinking about a trip or just curious?
Well, I think what's really interesting is that it's not just a big city. Kinshasa is considered like a cultural hub for the whole of Central Africa.
Oh, wow.
The DRC itself is like a key spot, geographically and culturally. And the capital really reflects all that.
Okay, so not just a political capital then.
Right. It's a place where everything kind of comes together.
Yeah, because the guide mentions this crazy blend of modern and traditional stuff, like a happening music scene, tons of art. It even says there's a sanctuary where you can see bonobos up close. I gotta admit, I'm already hooked.
Yeah, that bonobo sanctuary is pretty special. It's called Lola ya Bonobo. And it actually plays like a crucial role in conservation efforts because these primates are endangered and the sanctuary is really working to protect them.
So it's not just about tourism. It's about, contributing to something positive.
Exactly.
Okay, that is pretty cool. So it sounds like this place is more than just a city break. It's like a chance to really dive into a different culture. And speaking of which, the guide lists a bunch of must-see spots. Want to take a look at those?
Yeah, let's dive in.
Okay, so first up is that bonobo sanctuary. Lola ya Bonobo. Apparently you can have close encounters with the bonobos there.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
The guide describes them as super intelligent and playful. I'm already picturing the photos.
Well, bonobos are absolutely fascinating. They're known for their social intelligence. And unlike some other primates, they tend to resolve conflicts peacefully.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so after the bonobos, we got to check out the Congo River itself. I mean, this is a river that runs through history books, right?
Absolutely. The Congo River is the second longest river in all of Africa.
Wow.
And it's absolutely vital for the DRC. I mean, it's been a transportation route for centuries. And today, it still plays this major role in trade and connecting different communities.
So it's not just a pretty view.
Right.
Because the guide even recommends taking a sunset cruise. Can you imagine that? Cruising down this historic river as the sun sets over the city?
Yeah, sunset cruises are a popular activity in Kinshasa. And for good reason. Because from the river, you really get this different perspective on the city. And you often see traditional fishing boats and markets along the banks.
Okay, I can already feel the breeze in my hair. All right, next up, the Académie des Beaux-Arts. Now, I don't know a lot about Congolese art, but the guide makes it sound like a must-see.
Well, Congolese art is really unique and very expressive. It often uses these bold colors and tells these powerful stories about the country's history and culture and even, current social issues.
So it's not just pretty pictures.
No, it's very much connected to life there.
Wow, it'd be amazing to experience that firsthand. Okay, what else? Vallée. Yep. This sounds like a total change of pace.
Yeah, very different.
The guide describes it as like this peaceful natural lake surrounded by greenery.
It's a popular retreat for locals. People go there to escape the city noise and just relax. It's a reminder that Kinshasa isn't just a concrete jungle. There are these natural escapes within the city limits.
Okay, very cool. All right, and then we've got the Zongo Falls. The guide raves about these.
Well, they're beautiful.
Apparently they're about a 2-hour drive from Kinshasa, and the views are breathtaking.
They really are something to see. The water cascades down from over 60 meters, creating this thunderous roar. And the surrounding rainforest makes the area incredibly biodiverse.
So we've got nature, culture, art, even bonobos. It sounds like Kinshasa has a lot to offer. But let's get practical for a minute. If someone actually wanted to plan a trip, what should they keep in mind?
Well, first things first, you'll need a visa to enter the DRC, so be sure to check the latest requirements.
Good point. And once you're there, what about getting around?
Taxis and hired cars are probably the safest and most convenient ways to get around the city.
Okay, and money matters. What currency did they use?
The local currency is the Congolese franc, that's CDF, but you'll find that U.S. dollars are widely accepted.
Okay, good to know. What about accommodation? The guide mentions a few places.
Yeah, it highlights the Fleuve Congo Hotel, the Pullman Kinshasa Grand Hotel, and the Hotel Memling. But of course, there are many other options available, depending on your budget and your preferences.
And I bet FlightNHotels.com could help with finding the best deals, right?
Absolutely. Websites like FlightNHotels.com are excellent resources for comparing prices and finding deals on flights and accommodation.
All right, now I hate to bring this up, but the guide does mention safety. It says that while Kinshasa is generally safe, it's smart to be cautious, especially at night. Did you get that sense from the material?
Yeah, I mean, as with any major city, it's always wise to be aware of your surroundings and take precautions. You know, in Kinshasa, it's best to avoid walking alone at night, especially in areas that aren't well lit. Stick to well-populated areas and consider using taxis or hired cars after dark.
Okay, so common sense, basically.
Yeah, a lot of it is just common sense.
And I guess it's always important to be respectful of local customs and traditions as well, right?
Absolutely. Respect for local customs and traditions is essential when traveling anywhere.
Do you have any insight into that? Maybe some specific things to keep in mind?
Well, French is the official language.
Yeah.
But you'll also hear Lingala and Kikongo spoken throughout the city. And these languages reflect the country's history and the diverse cultural influences that have shaped it.
So it's a mix.
Yeah, it's a real blend.
Okay, cool. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about must-see spots, practical tips, even a little bit about language. I think it's time to move on to something I'm personally excited about. Food.
Ah, yes. Congolese cuisine is a delicious adventure in itself.
All right, bring on the flavors. I'm ready to explore Kinshasa's culinary scene.
So are you ready to dive into those flavors?
I am starving just thinking about it. What kind of food should we be looking for?
Well, one of the must-try dishes is poulet moambe.
Poulet moambe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So imagine tender chicken simmered in this like rich and creamy palm butter sauce.
Palm butter. What's that like?
So palm butter is this staple ingredient in Congolese cooking. It has like this slightly sweet, nutty flavor, and it just adds this wonderful richness to sauces and stews. And they often combine it with spices like chili peppers, garlic, ginger.
Okay, I'm sold. Poulet moambe is going on my list for sure. What else should we be on the lookout for?
Well, another dish you'll find everywhere is saka saka.
Saka saka.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is made with cassava leaves, which are cooked with fish or meat. It's a really hearty and flavorful meal. And cassava is a staple food in many parts of Africa.
Cassava leaves, I've never had those.
They have this slightly bitter, earthy flavor, and they're packed with nutrients.
So it's healthy and tasty? Good to know. What about something a little more adventurous?
How about makayabu?
Makayabu.
It's salted and dried fish, often grilled or fried. It's a real local favorite in Kinshasa.
Dried fish. That sounds interesting. So we've got chicken in palm butter sauce, cassava leaves with fish or meat, and dried fish. Quite a diverse menu. The guide also mentioned a couple of restaurants, Chastintin and Le Café Coq. Have you heard of them?
Yeah, both of those are well known for serving authentic Congolese dishes. They're great places to experience, you know, the true flavors of Kinshasa.
Definitely adding those to my list. Okay, now that we've talked food, let's talk about something else that's probably on everyone's mind when planning a trip. Safety. We did touch on it briefly, but the guide mentions being cautious, especially at night. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as with any major city, it's always smart to be aware of your surroundings and take precautions. In Kinshasa, it's best to avoid walking alone at night, especially in areas that aren't well lit.
So stick to well-populated areas, well-lit areas after dark. Makes sense. Is there anything else people can do to stay safe?
Well, using taxis or hired cars at night is always a good idea. And when you're out and about during the day, just be mindful of your belongings and try not to flash, expensive items. It's all about common sense, really.
Common sense and awareness.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to dwell on the negative. The guide also emphasizes that the Congolese people are known for their warmth and hospitality. Did you pick up on that from the material?
Absolutely. Congolese people are incredibly resilient and welcoming. They face many challenges, but they have this strong sense of community and are often eager to share their culture with visitors.
That's really heartening to hear. It makes me even more excited to experience Kinshasa. Okay, let's shift gears a bit and revisit some of those must-see spots. We talked about the Zongo Falls being a popular day trip. What makes them so special?
Well, the Zongo Falls are more than just a waterfall. They're like a force of nature. The sheer volume of water cascading down is a sight to behold, and the falls are surrounded by this lush rainforest. So it's an incredibly beautiful and biodiverse area.
The guide mentions that the water drops from over 60 meters. That's almost 200 feet. I bet the sound is incredible.
It is. There's this constant roar from the cascading water, and the mist that rises up creates this really cool, refreshing atmosphere.
I can almost feel it. The guide also mentioned hiking trails. Is that something people usually do?
Yeah, there are trails that lead to the top of the falls. For those who are feeling adventurous, the views from the top are supposed to be spectacular, offering this panorama of the rainforest and the surrounding countryside.
Okay, I'm putting Zongo Falls at the top of my list. Now let's talk about the Marché Central, Kinshasa's main market. I always love visiting local markets. When I travel, what's special about this one?
Well, the Marché Central is like the beating heart of Kinshasa. It's this vibrant, chaotic, and a colorful place where you'll find everything from fresh produce and spices to fabrics, crafts, and everyday items.
So it's sensory overload.
It is,
Uh-huh.
but in a good way.
In the best possible way.
It's a great place to experience, the energy of the city, to haggle for souvenirs,
Uh-huh.
and to try local delicacies.
Haggling is part of the fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so we got natural beauty at the Zongo Falls, cultural immersion at the Marché Central. And what about art? We mentioned the Académie des Beaux-Arts earlier. What should we be looking out for there?
Well, Congolese art is known for its bold colors, expressive forms, and powerful narratives. Often the artwork reflects the country's history and culture and the realities of daily life.
So it's not just about aesthetics, it's about storytelling and social commentary as well.
Exactly.
Are there any particular artists or styles we should know about?
Well, there are so many talented Congolese artists, but one of the most famous is Sherry Samba.
Sure, some.
Yeah, he's known for these vibrant paintings that often incorporate text and social commentary.
Okay.
Another is Moke,
Moke.
whose work often features these dreamlike scenes and draws inspiration from Congolese folklore and mythology.
I'm making a note to look out for their work. And then there was Body's Isaac Kingeles. His name I found really intriguing.
Oh yeah, he was an incredible artist who created these intricate architectural models. He envisioned utopian cities and futuristic landscapes. And his work is this powerful reminder of the human capacity for imagination and creativity.
I'm getting a sense that Congolese art is something truly special. It's not just about pretty pictures. It's about reflecting on life, society, and the human experience.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's about engaging with the world around you, with its beauty, its challenges, and its complexities.
Now, for those who need a break, from the city's hustle and bustle, the guide mentions Vallée.
Right.
Can you tell us more about that?
Well, Vallée is this peaceful retreat within the city. It's a natural lake, surrounded by lush greenery and rolling hills. It's a place where people go to relax, enjoy a picnic, or simply escape the noise and chaos of urban life.
So the perfect antidote to sensory overload.
Exactly.
And speaking of natural beauty, let's go back to the Congo River. We talked about its importance for transportation and trade, but the guide also highlights its beauty. What kind of experience can people expect if they take a sunset cruise?
A sunset cruise on the Congo River is a truly magical experience. As the sun dips below the horizon, the sky explodes with color, casting these golden hues on the water.
I bet it's stunning, and the city skyline must look incredible from that perspective.
It does. And you also get this different view of life. Along the river, you might see fishermen casting their nets, bustling river markets, or even glimpses of wildlife on the banks.
So that's not just a pretty view.
No, it's very much a living river.
Okay. I'm convinced. I'm adding a sunset cruise to my itinerary. So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've talked about safety, the warmth of the Congolese people, the stunning Zongo Falls, the bustling Marché Central, the thought-provoking world of Congolese art, and the tranquil escape of Vallée. And let's not forget that magical sunset cruise on the Congo River. It sounds like Kinshasa has something for everyone.
It really does. It's a city of contrasts and surprises, a place where you can experience both ancient traditions and modern life, natural beauty and urban dynamism.
And speaking of contrasts, let's talk about that famous nightlife. The guide mentions lively bars, nightclubs, and traditional music performances. I'm ready to experience Kinshasa after dark. Let's dive into that in the next part of our deep dive. Okay, so Kinshasa after dark. We talked about the food, the culture, the sights, but what about the nightlife?
Well, Kinshasa is known for its nightlife. It's got this vibrant scene. You'll find everything, from lively bars and nightclubs to places where you can experience traditional music performances.
And the guide specifically mentions Congolese rumba as being like a must experience. What's so special about this music?
Well, Congolese rumba is this genre that blends African rhythms with influences from Latin and Caribbean music. It's incredibly energetic and infectious, and it's really at the heart of Kinshasa's nightlife.
I've heard a bit of Congolese rumba before, and I can definitely see why people love it. It's got this irresistible groove.
Yeah, it makes you want to move.
So where should we go to experience this legendary Congolese rumba scene? The guide mentions a few places, like Planet J, Chesntemba, and the Congo River Club. Do those names ring a bell?
Yeah, those are all popular spots. Planet J is known for its live music and DJs. Ches Ntemba is a bit more upscale, and often features well-known Congolese rumba bands. And the Congo River Club has a more relaxed atmosphere, with views of the river.
Okay, I'm already picturing myself there, sipping on a drink, soaking up the atmosphere, and feeling that rhythm of Congolese rumba.
It's an experience you won't forget. It's a chance to really connect with the soul of Kinshasa, to see the city come alive with music and energy, and to really understand how important music and dance are to the Congolese people.
So we've covered a lot in this deep dive. We explored Kinshasa's must-see spots, learned about its rich culture and history, and even got a taste of its culinary scene and vibrant nightlife. I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, Kinshasa is a city that defies expectations. It's a place of contrasts and complexities, where ancient traditions exist alongside modern aspirations. It's a city that will challenge your perceptions and leave you with a newfound appreciation for the resilience and creativity of the Congolese people.
You know, when we started this deep dive, I had this vague idea of Kinshasa as just like a bustling African city. But now, thanks to these sources, I feel like I have this much deeper understanding of the city, its people, and its unique spirit.
That's the power of these deep dives. It allows us to move beyond those superficial impressions and really engage with the place on a much more meaningful level.
I totally agree. And I think this deep dive has shown that Kinshasa is much more than just a city on a map. It's a place with a soul, a place with stories to tell, and a place that's worth experiencing firsthand.
I couldn't agree more.
So if you're listening and you're feeling inspired to plan your own trip to Kinshasa, I definitely recommend checking out FlightNHotels.com. They've got the best deals on flights and accommodation. Who knows, maybe we'll bump into each other in Kinshasa one day, dancing the night away to Congolese rumba.
I would love that.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning,
And keep diving deep.